कामिनवार सर तुमच्या चेहऱ्यावर उजेड पाहिजे.
सायन्स स्वामी रामानंद तीर्थ युनिव्हर्सिटी नांदेड, इंचार्ज प्रिंसिपल डॉक्टर श्रीराम गव्हाणे सर, लाल बहादूर शास्त्री कॉलेज धर्माबाद, Chief Organizing Secretary Professor Dr. S.B. Patwari sir, and my colleagues and members of advisory committee and dear participants. We chemistry department and physics department made to discuss new education policy, its merits and demerits with the expert resource persons using these opportunities. Now I request Dr. Sriram Gawani sir to address to e-conference.
गव्हाणे सर म्यूट आहात आपण.
अनम्यूट करा.
अनम्यूट करा सर. गव्हाणे सर प्लीज अनम्यूट करा सर. हा ओके.
हॅलो,
आता बोला सर.
आवाज येतो सर व्यवस्थित?
आता येतो.
हा, वेलकम इन दिस ई कॉन्फरन्स न्यू एज्युकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 changes. The president of the conference and DSS secretary Dr. Kamal Kishorji Kakani, Dr. Prashant Vakte, Associate Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology, Swami Ramananda Tirtha Marathwada University, Nanded. Chief guest, ex-Vice Chancellor of Swami Ramananda Tirtha Marathwada University, Nanded, Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar sir, Dr. Neha Belsare ma'am, ex-Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ganesh Chandra Shinde sir, Dr. Vaman Rao Jadhav sir, DSS Director V.N. Patil Bandalikar, and all delegates and participants from all over the country. New education policy gives emphasis and cultivate social, cultural, and scientific values in future. Hence, I feel it is a very important for all of you. We will listen in more details about this from Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar sir. I congratulate my colleagues, Chief Organizing Secretary Professor Dr. S.B. Patwari sir, Organizing Secretary Dr. Kamlakar Kanse sir, Dr. Anil Tak, Dr. Amar Singh Chauhan, Dr. Yogesh Joshi, Dr. Nitish Kaminwar, Dr. Hanmant Kasalikar, and Professor Srinivas Nakalwar for conducting such a wonderful e-conference. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request Dr. Prashant Vakte sir, our inaugurator, before he having some little introductions. Vakte sir, it is currently Professor Head, Department of Microbiology at DSM College, Parbani. He has 32 years teaching experience. He has guided PhD, MPhil and MSc student, also authorized 5 books and edited volumes. He published 40 papers in national and international journals. He has been completed research project funded by UGC New Delhi. He has actively involved as organizing committee members in a various national and international conferences such as BTBT 2011, ABSD 2012, BTBT 2030, AES 2013, etc. Presently, he is Associate Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology, Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded, and he is Secretary, Microbiologist, Society of India, Karad, on editorial board of Bio Nano Frontier Mumbai, and Chairman Board of Studies in Microbiology and member of faculty RRC, BUTR and Academic Council. He has visited Indonesia, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, Maldives, Bangladesh, Nepal and Thailand. Now, I request Dr. Prashant Vakte sir to address inaugural speech.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Nakalwar, for a nice introduction of me. The president of today's program, Dr. Kamal Kishore Kakani, sir, honorable resource person, Professor Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar, sir, Neha Belsar, madam, the chief organizing secretary of this particular conference, Professor S.B. Patwari, sir, the principal of the college, Kavane, sir, Dr. Kanse, Dr. Kaminwar, Dr. Joshi, Dr. Kasradikar, and all the organizing committee of the conference. Also, Principal Dr. G.N. Shinde, sir, and Professor Dr. W.N. Jadhav, friends and dear participants. At the onset, let me announce that this National Conference on National Education Policy 2020, a challenge, is open. Friends and dear participants, let me congratulate the Postgraduate Department of Chemistry and Physics of Lal Bahadur Shastri Mahavidyalaya, Dharmabad district, Nanded, to organize a timely conference on this theme of National Education Policy 2020, a challenge. As we all know that the mark of quality of education of any education system depends on how the system adapts to fastly moving changes in the world due to research, industrialization, or development. We could understood it as flexibility of education system. Presently, we all are experiencing Industrial Revolution 4, and which brought many changes in our day-to-day life in general. But if to discuss the impact of IR4, what we called it as Industrial Revolution 4, we need to refer the resolutions made of the World Education Forum at Davos in 2016 for the first time, where mainly discussion was made on digital technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, big data, augmented reality, genome editing, 3D printing, bio and nanotechnology, quantum computing, and energy storage. These are the areas. All these areas are mainly focuses on the research or modern physics, biophysics, chemistry in general. And therefore, I really congratulate the Department of Physics and Chemistry for timely arranging this particular conference on changes in education made due to these areas in days to come. So these all are the knowledge areas which are mainly changing our industrial sector. And hence, the need of understanding change in our need of skilled human development at large scale and ultimately changes in education system is the need of our, we understood it now. And that what we called it as IR4 is breaking all the traditional parameters of trained human resources in professional sector or administration or human management, which directly or indirectly prompt all of us to accept the need to adapt, to accept the need to change in our education training, research area in general. And this revolution now is also referred or could be named as Education 4. Education 4 mainly based on technologies. Which technologies? Digital technologies. As referred earlier, many technologies are there which will change our teaching, learning, and evaluation. In short, TLE in toto. Therefore, new methodologies of TLE should be in position to blend our age-old or the earlier treated, well-defined or well-tested education system with digital technology. So, converting it into a fusion of technology, or it could be a blended technology. COVID pandemic actually triggered the development in this direction. In India, nowadays, ICT becomes an integral part of our education system. And therefore, students are getting acquainted uh, with the knowledge of computers, information technology, their own. Secondly, choice of subject of their own interest is also provoked by many education systems or institutions in India. E-learning, MOOCs, other digital resources are the reasons, or e-platforms available today are the reasons today that our student is having access to get joined with courses, syllabus, or even credits worldwide, and that we made it. This is the benefit of technology. Hence, UGC made it mandatory to follow CBCS different universities today. Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded, has made it first in the state. Thanks to our former Vice Chancellor of our university, Honorable Professor Pandit Vidyasagar Sir, for his vision as a researcher in physics, biophysics in general, and that benefits all of us. Who is a resource person today to deliberate on national education policy to enlighten all of us in this direction definitely. Second speaker is Dr. Neha Belsare. She is deliberating on school education versus teacher education. I wish all the best for fruitful deliberations during this e-conference to all of you. Lastly, I am thankful to the organizing committee again for giving me opportunity to be a part of this particular e-webinar and to put my views in this platform. Thank you all of you for your patient hearing. Thanks.
Thank you, Vakti sir. Now I requested respected Dr. Kamal Kishore Kakani sir to address presidential speech. Kakani sir.
Am I audible?
Yes sir, yes sir.
Good morning all. On behalf of Dharmabad Shikshan Sanstha and our President Honorable Sri Ashok Rawji Chauhan. First of all, I welcome in this e-conference the inaugurator of this conference, Dr. Prashant Vakte sir. Today chief guest, ex-Vice Chancellor of Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded, Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar sir, who will deliver the keynote address on the topic of new education policy, a challenge. Resource person, Dr. Neha Belsare madam, who will share her views on the topic school education versus teacher education. DSS Director, my colleague, Advocate Shri Vishwanath Rauji Patil Bandalika, ex-Pro Vice Chancellor of SRTM University, Nanded, Principal Dr. G.N. Shinde sir, Dr. W.N. Zadav sir, Dr. Sriram Gavane, in charge Principal of LBS College, all the participants from all over the country, and teaching and non-teaching staff of my college. Dharmabad Shikshan Sanstha, Lal Bahadur Shastri Mahavidyalaya Dharmabad is established in 1967 with the motto Bahujan Hitay, Bahujan Sakhay. The college is situated in the rural area and tries to impart quality education in all the faculties. Our college plays a very important role in the educational, social and cultural development of the rural area. The college has a tradition of conducting such seminars and conferences. Our faculty always strives to help the students see themselves as part of discipline with skills, abilities and good values. The Minister of Human Resource Development, Government of India, declared a new education policy on 29 July of this year, which proposes sweeping changes in school and higher education. The world is undergoing rapid changes in the knowledge landscape. Hence, National Education Policy has proposed the revision of all aspects of education structure, including its regulations and governance to create a new system. In this COVID era, pandemic situation, we can't come together. Therefore, this e-conference desires to carry forward the objective of new education policy to every citizen of the country. I hope the new education policy 2020 will certainly be a landmark in the history of education in India. The policy is comprehensive and holistic and will certainly play a great role in the nation's future growth. Definitely, the guidance of Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar sir and Dr. Neha Belsare madam will be fruitful and will help to implement the objectives of new education policy. I congratulate Chief Organizing Secretary of the conference, Professor Dr. S.B. Patwari, sir,
Mr.
and his
Executive
team
Officer,
for taking efforts and conducting this
Rakesh
excellent
Sir,
e-conference.
Dharmabad.
Thank
Secretary.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Dr. S.B. Patwari, sir, to introduce our chief guest, Honorable Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar. Patwari, sir.
Yes, yes. Can I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Good morning to all. Honorable chairpersons, honorable resource persons, members of advisory committee, all guests of honors,
Yeah, చెప్తున్నాడు డైరెక్ట్ మీద ఉన్నాడు డైరెక్ట్ అన్నాడు
all, and
Dr. Khan,
dear
huh?
participants. I am very glad to introduce today's chief speaker, Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar sir. Dr. Pandit Bhalachandra Vidyasagar, ex-VC of Swami Ramanand Maratha University, Nanded, and during his tenure, university got A grade by NEP. This is the proud moment of the university and the Nanded Holy City. Sir is MSc, PhD in physics and biophysics as well. Teaching experience about 30 years. Before Vice Chancellorship, sir has enjoyed number of posts. Director, BCUD Pune, Pune University, Pune. Director, Bioinformatics Center, Pune University. Director, School of Energy Studies. Registrar, Pune University, Pune. Member, 10 Plan UGC New Delhi, and so on.
నేషనల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ పాలసీ
In addition to this, sir was visiting professor, Cebu University, Japan. Apart from all these, sir has published more than 25 books and more than 100 articles in Marathi. 16 PhD and 18 MP candidates are awarded under the supervision of Honorable VC sir. Many awards, many prizes sir has been awarded. Number of awards on sir's credit, like the Best Teacher Award by Pune University in 1998, Outstanding Contribution to Education in 2040, and so on. In short, sir is a good teacher, better administrator, and the best scientist. With these words, I am requesting to Honorable VC sir to start his talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for nice introduction. I'll just share my PPT first, and then you can. Can you see the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay. So, good morning, everybody. President of today's function, Honorable Kakani, Dr. Vakte, Principal Dr. Gawane, Dr. Patwari, the other speaker, Dr. Belsare, my earlier esteemed colleagues, Dr. G.N. Shinde, Dr. Rao Jadhav, and Dr. M.K. Patil, many other participants, students and friends. This has been my, I think, 10th or 11th lecture on this particular topic. And I'm very happy that I have shared my views with all districts of Swami Ramananda Tirth Marathwada University. And Dharmabad has been a very special place because this is a learning center in a remote area of Nanded district, but it has a good reputation in many fields. I had opportunity to visit this college before I came as a Vice Chancellor, and after becoming Vice Chancellor, I have visited this college several times. And I was always impressed by the educational advancement done by all the, of course, the management, principal, and teachers. So I wish them all the best and thank them for giving me opportunity to speak on this topic. Now, as you know that this topic is very vast and there are many aspects related to that. So in the span of 40-45 minutes, it will be not possible to cover all the aspects, but I will try to do justice to the topic. Okay. So the next slide is, of course, show. One minute, I'll just adjust this thing because it's not next. Any correction? No, any correction. Video on नहीं सब setting video on. All right, so I have already covered this slide. Now, why do we need commissions, educational commissions? That is the first question we should ask. And the reason for this is that education is a dynamic process. And the requirements of the society, requirements of the nation, requirements for the development keep on changing. And our education should be in tune with that. And that is why we have to keep on changing the educational policies now and then. And this has been done in India for several times. Because last decade, the century if we see, there were many commissions. Most of the commissions actually suggested the changes in the content, like Radhakrishnan Committee, the Zakir Hussain Committee. And they addressed the problems which were there at that time, like about the primary education, higher education, linking of primary and higher education, or employment, question of employment. All kinds of things were addressed. In recent past, means after independence, Kothari Commission was the main commission because it has actually suggested many changes in educational system, and most of them were carried out. After that, in 1986, Sam Pitroda, under his chairmanship, the commission gave many suggestions, which were also partly implemented. For example, the main suggestion which was given by them was that we need 1,500 universities in India. Of course, we have reached up to 800 now. So, or they have changed the role of library, means knowledge resource center, we call it. So these changes were adopted. But the recent commission, the commission, has taken the stock of the situation right from pre-primary to postgraduate. And not only that, they have also suggested the change in teaching learning method or the framework of teaching. So this particular commission deals extensively with the education, all kinds of education, along with research, governance, and many other points. And that is why this is a very special kind of commission which we had in last 1 century. Now, how does commission work? The commission, of course, the first job of the commission is to find out what are the lacunae in the present system, because unless they find out the lacunae, they won't be, it won't be possible to suggest the remedies. And that is why they have listed out certain lacunae in our present system, which we know, because all of us are from education system. What are the shortcomings? There is no common thread in primary to higher education. So they are disjoint. I mean, they, as if they are two separate parts of education. So that is missing. Then we give more emphasis on rote learning, means learning by heart and then putting it in examination rather than understanding of the subject. And this criticism has been there for years. Then teaching learning framework is very rigid. As you know that students have hardly any choices. Recently, we have introduced choice-based credit system, so there is some choice given to the student. But that is also not to the fullest extent. There are many restrictions in offering the choices. Then institutions, very few or no institutions giving higher education in local language. So as you see that only arts and commerce subjects are being taught in local language, but most of the science subjects are taught in English. And that is a big lacuna because that becomes a handicap for many students. Then less freedom for institutions and teachers, because teachers have to follow the syllabus which is designed and given by the university. So there is no freedom. Then opportunity for teachers for professional development are also missing. So that was another point which was taken into consideration. And most important is lack of research, because of course there are many teachers who are engaged in research and some of them are doing good quality research, I know that. But this is not you cannot make it as a general statement, because many teachers are not involved in research and many teachers are not involved in quality research. So that problem also has to be addressed. Then planning and leadership is missing at every level. That is missing because we are very poor in planning, because we don't plan for next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 50 years. We plan only for one semester or at the most for 1 year. And that is the biggest lacuna in our system. Then too many governing agencies. You know that higher education is governed by so many say agencies and offices. Like in Maharashtra, we have Director of Higher Education, then we have Minister of Higher Education, Secretary of Higher Education, then UGC is there, AICT is there, NCT is there, Bar Council is there, then Council of Architecture is there. So many governing councils are there. And each one thinks that they are independent and they can have their own say. And there is no coordination among them. And that is creating a lot of chaos at the higher education level. It becomes very difficult to implement the policies. For example, the teachers' qualification for B.Ed are different, for MSc they are different, for engineering they are different. And universities to actually look, means they have to implement all these things together, all at the same time. Then large number of affiliated colleges is another say handicap. Many universities have colleges more than 800, 700, even SRTM is more than 400. So this puts a lot of burden on the university, because university has to cater for the examination, conduct of examination, declaration of results, then finalizing the syllabi, then monitoring that work, whether it has been properly done at the college or not. And that puts a lot of burden on the university and not good. Then lack of multidisciplinary educational atmosphere at all levels. Means, you know that there are few colleges who have many disciplines, like say Dharmabad College have many disciplines, but there are some colleges where there are only 100 students and only one faculty or one subject college. So this provides a very poor environment to the students for learning. And the last point is very important, that we lack skill development and vocational training. That is also missing. More than that, the teaching learning methods which we are using also need a lot of revamping, which we'll see later on. So as a result, what happens? That our performance is an average performance. At every place, every matter, we perform at the average level. Even fixing the syllabi or designing the syllabi, what we do, we address an average student, and accordingly the syllabus is designed, accordingly the paper is set, accordingly it is assessed. All kinds of things are at average level. And why does it happen? Because we are planning for a large system. We have to cater 400 colleges, 600 colleges, 800 colleges, lakhs of students. And when the system is very large, it's very difficult to plan, at the higher level, because most of the students will be at disadvantage and you will not be able to help them to come to that level. So that is the problem. Then opportunity for learning and experimentation is poor for the students. As I have said, that if the systems, means the institutions are not multidisciplinary, students hardly get any exposure to learning and experimentation. Then teacher has also less advantage or less opportunity to explore the roles like researcher, administrator, resource generator. He is only partly academician and delivering the courses to the student. Here is no chance for him to become educational developer and innovator. It is very rare. Of course, there are exceptions to this, but the general rule is that the teachers don't get any opportunity to do all these things. So that is also being addressed by the commission. And based on that, the objectives were decided. See, we have to decide the objectives and then define that what kind of structure is required for that. So objectives, of course, are towards developing just and equitable society. That will be our last aim. Then revamping all aspects of education system. See, as I said, that this commission has ventured into a area where they have suggested that everything related to education is to be changed. For example, teaching learning method. Now, how do we teach to the students at primary level or even at secondary level? That we keep on giving the information and make them learn by heart, do rote learning right into the examination. Now this has to change. Student should enjoy learning, that is one thing. Student should explore, that is another thing. Student should be able to innovate and student more. Now this is a big challenge before our educational system, because we are not doing any one of them. So this policy actually aims towards that. Then teaching learning method, I have just said that it has to change. Regulation and governance has to change. Vocational voice and skill development has to be brought in. Research should be introduced. And use of technology. This is very important. Because now we are doing it, as Dr. Vakte has said that we are already doing it. But this was also one of the objectives. Then creating new system aligned with aspirational growth of 21st century. See, 21st century is a peculiar century. Right now we see that we are facing many difficulties. All types of troubles are coming before us. This COVID is one, but then there is a excess rain which we are facing. Then there is a possibility of a war at the border. Then economy is going down. So there is a demand of the people because they feel that they are not being represented properly or they are not getting opportunity. So there is unrest all over the world. There is a discrimination of all types, based on economic status or based on social status or gender bias or caste and creed bias. All kinds of things are there, and everything is erupting at the same time. So these are the challenges, and our students will have to face these challenges. So they should be prepared for that. And for that, what you need is a holistic development. So what is holistic development, we'll see later on as we go on. Means what are the other virtues other than the subject knowledge are to be developed. And that is why the aim which has been kept by this policy is learning to know. Not only know, means we have to go beyond knowing also. Means we have to create it into a knowledge and wisdom. Then learning to do, this is very important, because doing is missing in our educational system. Our students hardly do anything. They will only copy, that's all. That is the only thing they do. But what about the skill? What about the vocational training? So that is to be introduced. Then learning to live together. That is also a very important aspect of our country, because we are multilingual, multi-religious, multi-state, all kinds of things are there, and we have to live together. So our students should know that. Then learning to divide virtues as memory, reasoning, aesthetic sense, physical capabilities, communication skills, and many more we'll consider in the next thing. See, there is a simple principle which is to be understood, that when we say that the student is learning, the first thing is students should smile when they are learning. It means that they are enjoying. Second thing, they should talk. It means they have become inquisitive and they have developed interest in learning. And the next thing is they should be moving all the time, means they are active, they are involved in action. So if these three things are missing, then we are not teaching them anything. And that is what happens in the present system. We ask students not to laugh or smile. We ask them to keep quiet. That is second thing. And third thing, we don't provide them any opportunity to do anything. So that is what is happening. And then we say that our graduates are not employable. Now, with these, what are the aims and objectives which are actual, means what is the action point? The first action point which has been suggested is that gross enrollment ratio to be increased to 50% by 2035. Right now, it is around 26% maximum. It varies from state to state and region to region. But maximum, if you say it is 26%, so we have to almost double it. And how could we double it? Of course, means we have to first provide access, then provide equity and quality. Because only, say, education, the type of education which we are giving will not satisfy our requirement. So gross enrollment ratio has to be increased. So how it will be done, that there is a model which has been suggested. And along with that, we have to develop a graduate who is, or the graduate is enlightened, socially conscious, knowledgeable, and skilled nation we want to create. So we have to, our graduates should be conducive to that. That is what they should have. And he should develop as a good, well-rounded, creative individual and intellectual capacities, spirit of service, and strong ethical compass. So values are very important. We are not only getting the degree, because right now we see in the society, the values are going down. Means nobody cares for the values. India has a great tradition of, as far as values are concerned. We always cherish our values. And that is in the mindset of Indians. I'll give an example. That when there was a tornado, Katrina in USA, and the lights went off, there was rioting and looting. But that didn't happen in Mumbai. So this is why it didn't happen, because we cherish some values. And that is what we have to further strengthen in 21st century. Then restructuring, what this commission says, that right now we have 40,000 colleges in India. But the situation is not welcome. It's pathetic, in fact. Why? Because 40% of them almost are single program or single subject colleges. So that is one thing. So how can you provide multidisciplinary environment? That is not possible. Second aspect, which is one minute, just, okay. So 20% of the colleges have enrollment below 100. As you can see in Marathwada area also, we see in under our university, there are many colleges which have only 100 or 200 students. So how can you provide facilities to the student? That is not possible. That is why it is suggested that we change the system and convert into 3 types of institutions. So this is a huge task, as you can see that. And what would be these 3 types of institutions? The first type is research university. And there will be 100 to 115 numbers, and each one will cater 25,000 students. So for example, Indian Institute of Science or National Chemical Laboratory or BARC. So these are the institutions where mainly research goes on, and they will cater to education for to certain extent. Means very little part of that will be education or teaching. Second types are teaching universities, which will be 1,000 to 2,000 in numbers. Right now we are almost 800. So they have to be increased to up to means they will be around 1,000 to 2,000, and 25,000 students for each university. All right, because they will not be affiliating universities, and that is why this number has gone less. Otherwise, you will say that now SRTM has around 1.5 lakhs students or something like that, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, or University of Pune has 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs students. So 25,000 because they will not be affiliating university. And third type will be colleges. So there will be 10,000 in number, and each college will have up to 5,000 strength, more than 3,000 and maximum 5,000. So these are the three types of institutions which have been recommended. And no affiliating universities. So no college is affiliated to the university. And all colleges will be autonomous. So here actually there is a lot of apprehension as far as the people are concerned, parents are concerned, students are concerned, management is concerned. That if all colleges are autonomous, how would they survive? Now, what has been suggested that all colleges should be given 15 years to develop into a multidisciplinary institution with a good grading. If they come up to that level, they will be continued, otherwise they will be phased out. So that is what the suggestion is. Then present university position, you know that there are many difficulties. So autonomy, present position, why is it not picking up? Because there are a lot of apprehensions, and we'll discuss those apprehensions later on. Another change which they have suggested is the way we teach. Right now we have three faculties: arts, commerce, and science. And students will have to choose subjects only from one faculty mostly. Now under CBCS they have some liberty to choose subjects from other faculties also, but that is restricted. In new education system, these all three will be merged together. It's all subjects will be available to the student, and student will have to develop his own pattern of learning. Suppose he wants to take 2 subjects courses from commerce, 3 courses from arts, 5 courses from science, it is allowed. And that is what is liberal education. Along with that, you can choose philosophy, religion, language, sociology, or skills. So there will be a lot of freedom given to the students. This is based on what? The models which we had in our earlier days at Nalanda and Takshashila. That where students from all over the world used to come for learning, because they were the famous learning centers. Why they were famous learning centers? Because there was a provision to know or to learn anything they want. I mean, there is no restriction that what subject the students would take. Student will decide what subject they would like to learn, and accordingly choice is made. So that is what the advantage is. One minute, please. Okay, so the next point is that, of course, to do this, the choice-based credit system will be essential part of our higher education, which we have already introduced in SRTM University. Ours was the first university to do that. And under that, we have provisions for electives, which are of 2 types, generic and discipline specific. So discipline specific are related to the subject, whereas generic are other than the subject, related subject. For example, a physics student can opt for economics or drama or music, and vice versa, that is possible. A student from art, if he wants to offer a course in science, that is also allowed. Then along with that, there will be ability enhancement courses and skill enhancement courses. They will also be essential part of this. Then there will be facility for credit transfer and credit accumulation also. I mean, students can accumulate the credit, and they can complete as and when they want to get a degree, diploma, or certificate. So right now, if a student discontinues the education, then there is very little chance for him to come again. That student will have to start right from the beginning. This will not happen. The credits will be accumulated, and student can use those credits whenever they want. Then mobility of the student will also be facilitated in a great way. So this is also there. Another pattern which has been suggested is that if student completes 1 year of education, will get certificate, 2 years diploma, 3 years years degree, and there will be degree. So if he undertakes some project or some research project, then he will be given research degree. And the advantage is that that student can join for research directly or complete post graduation in 1 year. So that is the advantage. Similarly, social science can have science, maths, and technology subjects. So that is also allowed. So that is also a big change which has been suggested. Then, as I said, that holistic education means what are the characteristics which we want to develop. Which of course intellectual characteristics, moral, aesthetic, all the developments are envisaged. And that is why every, what is meant by multidisciplinary institution, that is defined over here, that all institutions will have provision to teach language, music, literature, philosophy, Indology, statistics, theoretical and applied sciences, sports, translation, and so on. Mean the idea is that we have 16 विद्या 64 कला, ज्याला भारतीय परंपरेमध्ये आपण म्हणतो. So this provision should be made available to the students so that they can choose any kind of skill they want to really master. Then every institution should be it will be already said, but this is applicable to institutions even like IIM and IIT. Right now, IIM provides only management education. That will not be allowed. They will have to get converted themselves into a multidisciplinary institution. Similar case is the IIT, engineering college and medical college also. And this has to be done in the span of 15 years. So that is the period given to all institutions. Students should be provided optimal learning environment. That is must. Means we cannot say we are from rural areas, we are from backward areas, we are from here, we are from there. No. Every institution should provide good classrooms, laboratories, educational technology, sport, hostels, and blended system of online plus classroom teaching. So that is also envisaged. So that would be an essential part of education. Of course, that will cause certain problems. I am just stating some of the problems also the institutions will face. Now, institutions will face a problem of attracting students to the colleges. If they can learn sitting at home, why should they come to college? That is a question. So these institutions should develop, say, facilities for work experience and skill development. Unless they have those facilities, students will not turn to the college. And that is the need, means that every institution will have to think in that direction, along with the teachers also, because teachers' role will be changed. As we see that teachers are only information provider, that is what the criticism is. So they have to be facilitators. I mean, they will help students to learn. Of course, it will not be responsibility of the teachers to make them learn. That is their responsibility. That will be responsibility of students to learn, but responsibility of teachers will be to facilitate that learning. So that is a major change which will come due to new education policy. Now, online education, yesterday also I have discussed this, and of course, there are many discussions even on TV and in social media, that online teaching is creating many problems for teachers, because teachers are getting observed by many people, including our parents or anybody in the society, and they have started criticizing the teachers. Why? Because teachers are not taking enough care, because they are being observed. So they should look into their language, depth of their knowledge, accuracy, body language, pronunciation, small things, but they will have to take care of those. Then only they will be able, they will be appreciated. So this is a big challenge before the teacher, because right now we are only exposed to the students in the class, and even though we make few mistakes, they are okay, they are taken up, as students will forgive you. But when you are exposed to the general public, that will not happen. And that is a great challenge. Another thing is the exam pattern that is also being changed. So along with the written test, you can have oral, report, writing, open book test, home assignment, practical project, seminar, research paper. In short, flexibility is the keyword. There will be flexibility in all actions as far as education is concerned, and students will have a lot of choice in that. So we have to be prepared for it. Then why are we doing it? Because we want to raise the standards of our education to the international level. So we are going towards internationalization of higher education. So that is also the aim of this policy. So that it has two advantages. One is that our students will be globally compatible. We have to make them globally compatible. Another thing is that we have to attract students from developed countries, other countries, not only developed countries. And that is also aim. Now, how it can be done? It can be done, say, by keeping our local strengths. We have certain local advantages, local strengths that we have to preserve, plus bring in the new things from modern world. So both the things together will make our institutions, internationalization of higher education can be achieved. Of course, another important point which has been addressed by this policy is about teacher education and opportunities for professional development to teachers. Right now, you know that the situation is pathetic. Means we have permanent teachers, we have contractual teachers, we have CSB teachers, and there is a lot of disparity. And without paying, we expect them to do their best. So when we want to implement this new policy, then government has to look into this and see that the employment is proper, plus teachers are provided facilities to develop their professional career, as well as they are paid well, they are paid on time, and they are given freedom, okay, to learn and teach both. Another point which has been addressed by this particular policy is about research. Right now also there is a research which is going on, and there is a funding pattern. Different agencies will fund the research. For example, ICMR, DSC, DBT, CSR, all these agencies, central agencies, they provide funds for research. But they have specific topics which they will actually put forward, and accordingly you will have to prepare the project. So this funding is limited as far as subjects are concerned, and also the teachers who will get that, or researchers who will get it. In new policy, it is suggested that there should be a national research foundation which is open to all and open to all subjects. So any subjects you pick up for research, and if you can prepare a good project, that can be funded under this scheme. So that is a big change which has been suggested in this particular area. Along with that, there is a lot of discussion on professional education, like medical, then technical education, agriculture, law. These are the professional education. And there few changes have been suggested, which are very drastic. The first change which has been suggested is that there will be no specialized university. Means MUHS like universities will not be there. Maharashtra University of Health Science or Babasaheb Ambedkar Technical University. Such universities will not be there. All will be higher education institutions. Professional education, some people will have emphasis on other type of education. That is the only difference. And that is the big change which has been suggested. So these universities will have to convert themselves into multidisciplinary institutions, as well as their standard of teaching and learning has to be enhanced, because that is also poor at this time, and there are many issues in that. Ethical issues are there, social issues are there. Then agriculture is, as far as agriculture is concerned, application issues are there, because how much that research is useful in enhancing our crop production. So these are the issues which have to be addressed. So they are also taken into consideration. Now, as we have said that governance is not proper at this time. So what this policy suggests is that we should have light but tight governance. What does it mean? That there will be no complicated say rules and regulations like NAC we have to face. There's so many questions are there and you have to fill and all. No, all institutions will be given freedom to decide their norms and standards. So all colleges will be autonomous. So they will decide their own norms and standards. Broad guidelines are there because our objectives are clear, that what we are striving for, that we have discussed, that we have to give education which is conducive to 21st century requirements. So that is a broad guideline. So your aims and objectives, your standards and norms should be consistent with that. But you decide your norms and objectives and standards. Now, what this body means, the body which has been entrusted to do evaluation will only check whether they are followed or not. If they are followed, no questions asked. They are not going to suggest you any additional norms and standards, nothing. So, but if you are not following, then strict action will be taken. So that is light but tight. Right now, we evaluate, we ask many questions, we don't take any action. Suppose some college is not performing, what do? We don't do anything. So that will not happen in new policy, and that has been suggested. Another change they have suggested is one agency, one task. So UGC, for example, will have only one task, either deciding norms and standards or providing funds or other syllabus making, whatever it is, only one task. So every agency will have one task. There will be no conflict of interest, and that is how this will be maintained. So that is another change which has suggested. Now, along with these areas, the other three areas which they mention is technology in education, vocational education, and adult education. So we'll see what are the different aspects which they are suggesting as far as this. Professional education I have already discussed. Lifelong learning means what is the purpose? Purpose is to provide opportunity for the people to learn throughout their life. And throughout their life, they can accumulate the credits, and whenever the credits satisfy the requirement, they will get their degree, diploma, certificate, whatever they are aiming for. That is one way. Second thing is to upgrade yourself for the new requirement, because you know that technology is changing every day. And whatever we have learned yesterday is not useful today. So every time we have to keep on learning, and such opportunities should be created by this particular department. So lifelong learning will be another thing. Second thing is that lifelong learning should be integral part of higher education. Right now it is an independent unit kind of a thing. So they will have to integrate their courses into our regular courses which are offered to the students. So that is another aspect. Then use of technology, as I have said, that two things. That one is the use of technology in teaching, learning, administration, examination, evaluation, admission, all kinds of things. So we are already doing it. So many of the institutions have already started and they are doing it. But the another aspect which is there, which is very important, that every institute should float the courses which would be required to develop the expertise required for the development of new technology. Like Dr. Bhakti has mentioned many new areas, like artificial intelligence is there, data mining is there, biotechnology is there, nanotechnology is there. There are many, or vaccine preparation will be new challenge before us. There are many areas which are coming up, which are new areas. Even cognitive studies of brain is there. So many areas are coming up. So what universities are interested, or the institutions are interested to develop courses related to that and offer them to the students, so that the manpower is created which will be used for the development of new technology. So that is also another aspect of it. So in short, what are the new directions given? Teaching learning method has to change. In fact, the mindset has to change of a teacher. Right now, teachers have a mindset, means I am also a teacher. So our mindset is that whatever we know, students should know that much only. That mindset we have to forgo. We have to give freedom for the student to learn and facilitate learning as much as possible. And this has to happen right from pre-primary to the postgraduate. Right now also we restrict that I know this much, so take this much, learn this much, write this much, get the marks and go away. So that has to change. So this is a big challenge which we have to face. So we have to go from rote learning to conceptual learning. So we have to make students to understand the concept. So law of gravitation, it is not only cramming the statement, but they have to understand the essence of that, applications of that. So that is what the conceptual learning. If they understand the concept, they should be able to apply it to a new situation. So that is the requirement. And even means our colleague over here, Mrs. Belfere, she will discuss that from 9 to 12, what is the expectation? That students should be taught to think critically. That is the objective. So critical thinking is the essential part of learning, and that will continue into the higher education also. Skill development I have discussed, choice-based credit system I have discussed. So all aspects of that will be implemented. And most important is student participation. We have to enhance or increase the participation of students in learning. Right now, student is a passive learner. As I have said that whatever we tell, we expect him to do that much only. There is a good story that how we kill the creativity. In this policy, we say that creativity has to be, means we have to nurture and nourish. But what we do in the school is like this, that one boy goes to the school and teacher asks them to draw a flower. So that boy has many ideas of drawing the flower. He has seen many flowers. So he starts drawing it. So teacher says, no, stop. Unless I draw it on the board, you should not draw it. So then she draws a flower and that student has to copy that. Then next thing comes, color it. So again, that boy had many ideas of coloring the flower. So that starts doing it. Again, teacher, no, don't do it. I will color that on the board, then only you do. So that boy follows that teacher. So when that boy goes to the other school and when teacher asks that boy to draw a flower, he keeps on waiting till whether that teacher is drawing the flower or not. And when that teacher says, no, no, you can draw on your own, that boy draws the same kind of flower which you are taught to draw in the earlier class. So you have killed the creativity of that boy at that point only. He will always follow a teacher. And that has to change. So there is a big demand of this policy. I don't know how we'll achieve it. Now, unfortunately or fortunately, that COVID effect has already brought in many things in advance. And the thing which we'll discuss is about online teaching. Because we have already started doing that. And that was actually suggested in new education policy. Because it has, we are compelled to do it now. But what problems we are facing? So same problem we'll face when we implement the new policy. And that is a digital divide. That when we do online teaching, how many students actually can afford to use that technology? And right now the picture is not very encouraging. So we'll have to worry about this, that unless we make provisions, proper provisions, and provide facilities to the students who are from the disadvantaged classes, there will be a digital divide. And when that happens, students will lose interest in learning if they remain out of the system for some time. And then whatever achievements we want to make, 50% GR and all, that will not be possible. So these problems are also there, which we'll have to think very seriously and make proper suggestions to the government so that they take appropriate action. So otherwise there is a criticism on this policy that also I will, at the end, I will mention some of the criticism which is made, because people ask questions to me. So I have gathered few questions on that line also. So online teaching, there are advantages and disadvantages. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? We'll see. What is the advantage? The best teachers could be made available. Means even I am not a good teacher, I can get a lecture of a best teacher and show it to students. So that is possible. Then distance is not a problem. I can teach from anywhere. That is another thing. The third advantage is that I can use diagrams, data, graphs, simulation, 3D pictures, everything is possible. So I don't need to draw it on the blackboard, or my personal restrictions or my personal incapabilities will not reflect on that. If I am not good at drawing, I will hesitate to draw a figure. So I will avoid that. So that will not happen over here because they are available. Another thing is material available for students after lecture at any time. That is the biggest advantage. And that will also encourage the participative learning of the student, because students will have to take initiative in knowing all these things or getting it to those things. And I can tell you from my own experience, the students are becoming so independent because of that. Those who take interest in it. Even my granddaughter, who is in 3rd standard, she knows better than me using this web technology and all. And they are learning through that. So that is an advantage. But for whom the technology is available. For whom the technology is not available, that will be a great handicap, and that will happen even after the implementation of this policy also, that we have to take care. Then eye contact is missing. So I don't know whether students are learning or not learning. Human interaction is missing. That is very important, because students learn more from a teacher outside the class than in the class, because they follow the traits of behavior, their experience, their merits and achievements and all kinds of things. They have positive effect on the student. This will not happen over here. Then teacher is at loss to understand whether students understand the topic. What about the pace of lecture? Whether I have to go slow, I have to go fast, I have to repeat, I don't have to repeat. Nothing is, possible, because I teach now online courses. I'm teaching for MSc students. So I find the same difficulty. I'm at loss that how much effective I am in teaching. I don't get any reactions. And whenever I ask question, only 1 or 2 students will respond. And that is also very restricted kind of a response which I get. So it is not satisfying to that extent right now. Maybe things will change later on. Then not suitable for practical training. And that is the essential part of new policy. So that we'll have to find out the solution. As I have said, that students will come to the institution only for work experience and skill development, because that will be the most important part for the student. Then what are the challenges before the teacher? As I have said, that you have to worry about the quality of their lecture. It's very essential. It is not only speaking before the camera. No. Everything teacher will have to take care. While writing, while speaking, while expressing, while repeating, all kinds of things they have to take care on online teaching. And they have to blend this, means a total course. How would they teach? Which part will go as online, which part will go for classroom teaching? That has to be decided. And then the syllabi has to be changed accordingly. Because right now we have not thought about this. When we are making our syllabi, we have not actually thought about it. And teachers will save a lot of time also. That time has to be meaningfully used in developing the skills. So that is also another aspect of it. Then best in the world can be made available. That is the opportunity I have said. Opportunity for teachers to get express or exposed globally. That is the best advantage. If you are good, even though you are in the remote part of the country, you can expose yourself to the whole world. And that is the best chance for the students, teachers, to prove their quality. And what are the challenges? How to attract the students to the colleges and to evolve and adopt new teaching learning methods. So we'll have to now put more and more effort in online teaching, so it comes close and goes beyond the classroom teaching. So both ways we'll have to do. If it doesn't happen, then there is a danger of digital divide, knowledge divide, and social divide. So this has to take, there are questions which are raised about this policy. Like suppose we reduce the number of colleges. Now what will happen to the remote areas? Of course, there are many suggestions given in this policy. They say that every district will have one public institution. What is public institution? That is funded by the government. Second thing, they say that the areas which are backward, there are tribal areas, there should be more public institutions. So that is also suggested. then every institution should provide scholarships to the at least 20 to 30% of the students. So that is also suggested. Then they have suggested that those who are slow learners or from disadvantaged classes, the institutions will have to provide more opportunities for them to learn, as we do with bridge courses or those kind of things we do, remedial courses. So those actually remedies also have been suggested in this particular policy. But the most important is that this the funding given by the government. Right now, you know that we spend only 3% of the GDP at the most. It is expected to rise it to 6%, but that is that will depend on the government. Second point which I would like to say is that we need a good implementation policy. Unless government makes a good implementation policy, there will be a chaos, because the present system will be dismantled. A new system is not built properly, there will be chaos in education. So that is the greatest danger. So I am sure that government will think on it and will create a good implementation policy, and very clear implementation policy has to be there. Then it is possible, because this is the dream. This is a dream policy, because lot many things have been dreamed in this policy. If it happens, it will take our country to a, it will be a very advantageous kind of a thing, or it will make our country progress. But if it doesn't happen, then that is a danger. So what are the challenges? That we have to enhance the quality, we have to make our education relevant, we have to make our education skill based, we have to make it vocational based, entrepreneurship has to be encouraged, we have to make our students creative and innovative. That is the challenge. And we have to get rid of informative kind of education, irrelevant education, without skill, through rote learning, unemployable, and without capacity building. So that we have to get away. The last point, which is very important for rural colleges, is about autonomy. And there are fears, there are apprehensions. And what are the apprehensions? For teachers, it is a fear of losing jobs, then getting more responsibility, more work. Then we are already used to law of average, so we have to get away with them. So we are not very happy about it. And financial considerations, which are most important. So government should develop a model where they should provide special funding for the institutions which are in rural areas, disadvantaged areas, so that they will have an opportunity to develop themselves to multidisciplinary institutions, and they will remain in competition in future. So, but there are advantages of autonomy, because there is a freedom to frame syllabus, decide teaching, learning and evaluation method, starting new courses, opportunity to enhance quality, because you will be independent. So that is the advantage. So about this policy, what we can say is that first of its kind to consider pre-primary to PG education in one go. So this is a span, is very large span, which has been discussed over here. Suggest changes in teaching learning method, which were not in any earlier policy. Expect change in the mindset of teachers, students, government and society as a whole. Then introduction of liberal education concept and blend of Indian tradition with modern approach. That is the classroom teaching along with our online teaching, skill development and vocational training. So this is what in nutshell this policy is. Okay. So if you have any questions, you are welcome. And I thank again our management, principal, coordinators for giving me opportunity to present myself. You. Thank you very much.
Okay, any questions? Thank you, sir, for giving valuable insights in the area of new education policy challenge. Thank you, sir, once again.
Okay.
Now I requested Dr. Y. Joshi, sir, to introduce resource person, respected Dr. Mahavidyalaya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nakalwar, sir. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce today's second resource person, Dr. Neha Bindu Madhav Belsare. She is a Director, Maharashtra Institute of Education, Planning and Administration, MIEPA, Aurangabad. Deputy Director, Maharashtra State Council of Educational Research and Training, MSCRT, Pune. She is PG in Chemistry as well as in Education and completed her doctoral degree in Education. Madam has total 25 years of teaching experience and around 5 years of administrative experience as a principal. She has presented and published research papers in various international and national conferences. She conducted 10 minor research projects on various education policies. She worked as a planner for a teacher education from 2012-13 to 18-19. She designed and conducted many short and long-term training courses for teachers. So I request respected Dr. Neha Belsare Madam to address this conference.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. Hope you and your loved ones are safe and healthy in this pandemic situation. At the outset, I would like to thank Honorable Ashok Ji Chavan, Dr. Kakani Ji, Professor Patwari, Professor Gavane sir, and all organizing team for giving me this opportunity. Personally, it's very energizing to be interacting with you all today. Also privileged to be sharing the platform with esteemed scholar, Dr. Pandit Ji Vidyasagar. Thank you, sir, for enriching us on NEP. And I will take it further from here and cover highlights of school education and teacher education within the purview of New Education Policy 2020. As Vidyasagar ji said, NEP is a comprehensive framework to guide development of education from early childcare education to higher education, including professional education. Early childcare and education, henceforth, we called it as ECCE, that is early care and early childhood and care education. This is agenda of the session. I will pause here to allow you to go through it. I am going by these points. This is evaluation of India's education policy. After in post-independent era, three policies are there. First is based on Kothari Commission's report, that is first policy after independence is 1968, second in 1986, and this is third policy. All these three policies are recommended expenditure on education should be up to 6% of GDP, but at present, according to 2017-18 survey, economic survey, we observe that India is expending only 2.7% in education, and if we see other countries like Finland or Sweden, exactly reverse, they are spending around 7.2% on education. If this policy has a broad vision and to transform education to an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all, then we have to invest in education as recommended by all three policies again and again. It is rightfully balances the rootiness and pride in India as well as acceptance of the best ideas and practices in the world of learning from across the globe to make ourselves future ready with these policies. A strong, vibrant education system is the foundation of democracy. Of high quality education at all levels should become reality, and hence this policy envisages to develop constitutional values and attain sustainable development to become truly global citizens. As we are, this policy is aligned with Sustainable Development Goal 4, which are committed in India as commitment in 1915 to sorry 2015 to this sustainable development goal to achieve equitable education, equitable sustainable society by 2030. This policy is based on 5 pillars, and these are access, equity, accountability, affordability, and quality. The implementation of earlier policies has addressed mostly the issue of access or equity, not up to 100%, but progressively. But quality remains a concern. So, major pillar to this policy is to address quality at all levels of school education. The policy is based on 5 pillars, and we have made progress on accessibility after the post-independent era with plethora of initiatives like DPP, Operation Blackboard, RMSA, SSA, Samagra Shiksha, and so on and so forth. But we have significant ground to cover when it comes to the foundational pillar of quality across all levels of education and in our quest for sustainable and equitable society. We all will agree that affordability as a pillar has direct linkage to ensuring to build quality and equity. This is aligned. Aligned to get equity in diversity, because our country is have various diversion and disparities. But provision of gender inclusion fund has been made to address this issue. Then in education of transgender, education of children with special needs, then education of socially economically disadvantaged groups. Various initiatives will be taken to address this issue of in the country to achieve target of equity. So these 5 pillars are very important, and it is the foundation of this policy. In this policy, how for that there is change in the curricular and pedagogical pattern. New pedagogical and curricular structure has been given by this policy. Earlier, right from policy 98, we implement 10 plus 2 plus 3 pattern. That is 10 years of schooling, 2 years of junior college, and plus 3 years of degree course. Now, the policy accepts the pattern of 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. And first stage is the foundational stage, that is from ECCE to class 2. ECCE to class 2. ECCE, that is from age of 3. Policy expects universalization from age 3 to secondary level, that is up to 18 years of age. That means schooling age of the child is visualized from age of 3 to age of 18, include from foundation stage to secondary stage. Foundation stage is from age of 3 years to 8 years, and it is called as ECC plus standard 1 and 2. And at this level, multi-level, play-based, activity-based learning is visualized. Then second stage is preparatory stage, that is for standard 3 to 5. And at this stage, various activities, activity-based and interactive classroom learning is also expected to children. A child should become a thinker from this level. So discovery, inquiry-based teaching learning processes are expected. Then third stage is middle stage, that is from classes 6 to 8. And at the age of at standard sixth, policy visualizes introduction of vocational education from standard 6, and this is preparation of secondary stage. In this stage, at middle stage, experiential learning will be introduced, and hands-on practice for various vocational courses is visualized in various subjects such as science, mathematics, arts, social science, and humanities. The fourth stage is from standard 9 to standard 12, and this is multidisciplinary. At this stage, students will be exposed to more than 40 various subjects, and multidisciplinary study is expected at this stage. As earlier mentioned by Dr. Vidyasagarji, there will be no hard streams of science, arts, and commerce, and more than 40 subjects will be there for this from standard 9 to standard 12, so that children will be able to get exposure to 21st century skills such as critical thinking, creative thinking, then computational thinking, design thinking, and also scientific, rational, mathematical thinking, logical thinking, etc. And flexibility will be offered to students of various subjects by their choice. They can select these subjects. So this new academic structure will be introduced after implementation of this policy, and main point regarding this is that the foundational stage includes early childcare and education, which earlier policies have not covered, and this is very foundational stage of the policy. Then next point is universal to education. Access by 2023 is expected and for children of 3 to 6 years. In existing Anganwadis, located Anganwadis in preschools or preschool, independent Balvatikas or independent preschools like that. Other than that, foundational learning curriculum will be developed for this stage, and and prior to age of 5, every child will move to preparatory class or Balvatika, because early childcare education is very important for school readiness program. Earlier, in current pattern, the child most of the children enter at the age of 6 into first class, and most of students in socially economically underprivileged classes, they will not attempt ECC and directly come to first standard. So they are not school ready. For that, this school readiness program is expected. Then implementation to be jointly carried out by Ministry of HRD, Women and Child Welfare, Health and Family Welfare, and Tribal Affairs. Then this again remains a challenge, because at present also the convergence in these departments is expected. That remains the same. ECCE framework. The National Curricular and Pedagogical Framework for Early Childcare and Education for Children up to age of 8 will be developed by NCERT in two sub-forms for age group of 0 to 3 years and for 3 to 6 years. Two sub-curricular frameworks will be there. This means policy covers learning of child from age of 0 to 3 years also. That will be useful for parents and teachers, and from 3 to 6 years up to 12 years. This is the good point of policy. And for developing national curriculum framework, curricular and pedagogical framework in these two lines, latest research on ECC and national and international best practices, in particular, numerous rich local traditions of India over millennia in involving art, stories, poetry, drama, games, songs, and more also will be suitably incorporated. These are some of the pedagogies that we are visualizing through this policy to be in early child care and education for their early education, for the early education of the child. We know that over 85% of child's cumulative brain development occurs at the age of 6, indicating the critical importance of appropriate care and stimulation of the brain in early years in order to ensure healthy brain development and growth. Presently, quality ECC is not available to crores of children, and particularly from socially economically disadvantaged backgrounds. Now, the strong investment in ECCE has the potential to give young children such access, enabling them to participate and flourish in the educational system throughout their lives. Universal provisioning of early child care and educational development education must thus be achieved as soon as possible and no later than 2030. This timeline or target has been given in the policy to ensure that all students entering to grade 1 are school ready. Attainment of foundational literacy and numeracy by grade 3 in mission mode is has stressed in this policy. The ability to read and write is a basic operation or basic learning tools of the child, and these are an indispensable prerequisite for all future schooling and lifelong learning of learner. However, various governmental as well as non-governmental surveys indicate that we are currently in learning crisis. A large proportion of students currently in elementary school, estimated to be over 5 crore in number, and have not attained foundational literacy and numeracy, that is the ability to read with comprehension and do basic mathematics. Every one student out of 3 in class 3 is unable to read with comprehension, and every 2 students out of 3 in class 3 will unable to perform basic mathematics. So, attaining foundational literacy and numeracy for all children will thus become urgent national mission, with immediate measures to be taken on many fronts and with clear goals. With clear goals, the policy expects clear goals in foundational literacy and numeracy. At the age of 3, this every child should be able to learn 35 words per minute, so that thus this type of achievable targets will be put forth, and accordingly this foundational literacy and numeracy aspect has to be dealt in mission mode. The highest priority of education system will be to achieve universal foundational literacy and numeracy by 2025, and rest of this policy will become relevant for all students only if this most basic requirement is first achieved. To this end, a national mission will be established at a national platform, that is National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy will be set up by Ministry of Education. MHRD is now called as Ministry of Education after this policy. According to all state and union territories, there will be immediate preparation of implementation for plan for attaining this numeracy and literacy in primary schools and stage-wise targets and goals to be achieved by 2020, and close monitoring and tracking of this progress of foundational literacy and numeracy. I am reminded of Yashpal Committee report, Learning Without Burden, published in 1993, that observes how learning has become a source of mental and physical burden for students. And the policy aims to address this issue by reforming curriculum at all stages. And by reforming curriculum at all stages and focusing on learning outcomes. LOs means learning outcomes, and we have to change our pedagogy, curriculum pedagogy, and our focus on assessment also, as said by our earlier speaker, Professor Vakte sir. There will be reduction in curriculum. The key overall thrust of curriculum and pedagogy reform across all stages will be to move the education system towards real understanding and towards learning how to learn, and away from the culture of rote learning as is largely present today and as mentioned by Professor Vidyasagarji. The aim of education will not only be cognitive development, but also building character, creating holistic and well-rounded individuals equipped with 21st century skills, and reduced content with right intent to achieve critical thinking, creative thinking, computational thinking, and design thinking, and to develop our child basically thinker, not a rote learner. Focus on learning outcomes, competencies, and subject integration will be observed as per this policy. The competency-based education will be provided to children. So curriculum will be revised according to that. Then pedagogical practices, classroom transactions, teaching, learning will be focusing on learning outcomes and integration of various subjects to art integrated, sport integrated, storytelling based pedagogy, among others, is expected at various levels. Development of scientific temper and inculcation of knowledge and practice of human and constitutional values such as patriotism, sacrifice, non-violence, truth, honesty, peace, etc. is visualized as learning outcome of individual child. Promotion of multilingual teaching and emphasis on digital literacy as mentioned by earlier speaker. There will be no silos among subjects in co-curricular, curricular or extracurricular. All subjects will be taught at school level as main subjects, and academic, there will be no hard separation between academic and vocational course, science and humanities, or sports and academics. Children will select subjects as per their choice and interest, and they will able to get skilled in various vocational courses also. These are some innovative pedagogies for transforming teaching and learning processes. In all stages, experiential learning will be adopted, and including hands-on practice, art integrated and sport integrated education. States are expected to innovative methods to achieve these aims of greater flexibility and exposure to enjoyment and engagement of wider range of subjects, including across art, science, crafts and humanities, languages, vocational subjects with proper use of technology and hands-on practice. 64 arts and 16 Lokvidyas are part of school education, and there will be 10 bagless days will be provided every year to relate to get opportunity for students for experiential learning and hands-on practice with local vocations and skill development. The main reform policy expects in transforming assessments. Drawing upon the rightful thought of Mrs. Anita Karwalji, She is secretary of Ministry of Education at present at Central Ministry. That assessments must change in order to bring about true change in pedagogy. So assessment has given lot of focus how to transform them. The assessment tools must include assessment as learning, assessment of learning, and assessment for learning, and to be aligned with learning outcomes and competencies of students. For that exam reforms are also expected. Census assessments at key stages in classes 3, 5 and 8 the achievement, because we are visualizing through policy that by class 3 every child the attainment of foundational literacy and numeracy of every child will be ensured. So this is a key stage at class 3. Then at class 5 middle preparatory stage will be over, and at the preparatory stage students are ensured with all learning outcomes at that age appropriate and grade appropriate level. Therefore this ensurement at that particular level, which give us to address issue of learning crisis. And so the census assessments and at key stages are expected. And for that, assess pattern and exam reforms are also expected. Reforming examination in grades 9 and 12, 9 to 12, that means 9, 10, 11 and 12, including board exams. Board exams will be made easier as they will test primarily competencies. And by 2020 and 2023 academic, we are expecting this transformation in board exam. And for standard setting body, standard norms and guideline setting body will be set up at national level, that is called as PRAC, Performance Assessment Review Analysis for Holistic Development. This is PRAC. And another guidelines will be prepared by NCERT in consultation with SCERT for boards of assessment, because in India there are various boards, more than 60 types of boards are running throughout India. And at this level, each subject will be offered at 2 levels. Beginning with mathematics, all subjects will be offered at 2 levels in basic level, and another level will be advanced level, and student will select by their choice the subject and the level of the subject. Then transforming the culture of assessment, continuous tracking of learning child will be there. Then attempt to focus on core concept, higher order thinking skills, then foundational skills, and 3 types of evaluation by students, then peer evaluation, and by evaluation. And artificial intelligence based software will be developed for tracking the record of assessment. And National Testing Agency will work to offer high quality common aptitude tests to eliminate the need for taking coaching for these exams. Unnecessary importance has been given to class 10th and 12 board that will be released, and National Testing Agency will take care of that, and PARAK is also there to guide and set standards for assessment. Then there will be holistic progress card of each child, and expectation is that for throughout the schooling year, this progress card will be cumulative. and it will be in 360-degree and multi-dimensional report. Progress card will include self-assessment, peer assessment, teacher assessment, as well as it will not only include the subject assessment, but all-round holistic development of child in various domains, cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, socio-economical development, like that. And progress card will include 360-degree progress of each child to make up to be able to select various career opportunities through this progress card. Then multilingualism and power of language learning. It is well understood by research that young children learn and grasp real concepts more quickly than their language. Instruction till grade 5 and preferably up to standard 8 will be mother tongue, home based, or low language. Research shows that children pick up languages extremely quick between 2 to 8 years. So, from early childcare and education, CE, exposure to multilingual environment, conducive environment is expected in the policy. Three language formula, three languages to be taught, and they will be decided by the state. Three language formula has been set by our second policy, and this is reiterated in the 2020 policy. But it is mentioned that out of these three languages, two will be native languages of India. And all classical languages will be widely available in schools as option, including Sanskrit. So that multilingual environment, multilingual culture will be there in various levels, and children are exposed to learn this type of various languages, including foreign languages, Korean, Japanese, Thai, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, or English. Whatever they want, they can learn. Now we move to schools. How this policy ensures quality of school, not only infrastructure, but to focus upon learning outcome of children. This is a concept of school complex or cluster reiterated in this policy. Earlier, it was introduced by Kothari Commission in 1966, and it was incorporated in our first policy in 1968. I think at national platform, Maharashtra is the state where we have implemented this concept through cluster schools. Cluster in Maharashtra, cluster head and cluster schools are implemented way back in from 1994. The concept of school complex is that one secondary school with all resources, that is from ECCE to class 12 preferably, will be there, and other schools in the periphery of 5 to 10 kilometers will be clubbed to this cluster to share resources, physical resources, as well as human resources. For example, we are visualizing n number of subjects to be offered to students. So multilingualism is there, then vocational courses are there, then art and crafts to be taught to students. So for that, various resources, various competent teachers will be required, as well as physical workshops setup will be required. To get these resources in given timeline, it is concept of sharing few physical and human resources. And through this school complex, this policy strongly endorses the idea of school complex. And the aim of school complex will be greater resource efficiency, more effective functioning, coordination, leadership, governance, and management of schools in the cluster. Then another concept to ensure quality of school is standard setting and accreditation. For higher education institutes, there is NAC. Similarly, on that line, this policy visualizes standard setting body and accreditation body for ensuring quality at school level. Development of school quality assessment and accreditation framework will be developed by NCRT at national platform and SART at state level to ensure all schools follow certain minimal professional quality standards, and public and private schools will be assessed on the same criteria or the benchmarks, and there will be setting up of state school standards authority and self-disclosure of all basic regulatory information of schools at this SSSA or State School Standard Authority on their website. Now we will teacher and teacher education. Here we have seen what are changes in school education from ECC to class 12, and aligned to that, this is that there will be improvement in teacher education as well as the environment or service conditions which we are providing to teachers, and through this initiative we will be able to succeed to achieve the change to achieve aims of policy. Teacher education will gradually be moved by 2030 into multidisciplinary colleges and universities. The 4-year integrated B.Ed offered by multidisciplinary higher education institute by 2030. That means there will be transformation period we will be given of 10 years. So DLED or DL will be merged into B.Ed, because at all levels of education, that means from ECC, preparatory, middle stage and secondary stage, we will be visualizing 4-year trained teacher, and at +2 level right now or at the end of class 12, he will choose the career as to become a teacher. So 4-year integrated B.Ed course will be there for all stages of education. HES will be for students who have received 3 years bachelor degree, or 1-year B.Ed for those who have completed 4-year discipline bachelor degree in research or master's degree in special subject, and then they wanted to become a teacher for particular subject. Multidisciplinary higher education institutes offering 4-year in-class integrated B.Ed programs will also provide blended or open distance learning mode of teaching to students for in remote areas. There are lots of initiatives, multitudes of measures are being taken for improving teacher education. If we look at Justice Commission's report in 2012, so many recommendations were there which are yet remain. But this policy again look at that recommendations get implemented along with policy's own other initiatives. All programs conducted within composite multidisciplinary institution to ensure quality, because we are expecting our teacher to more than one subject and in various disciplines. So this approach is there. Then action substandard, standalone teacher education institutions will be taken, and it is much needed, as mentioned by Justice Verma Commission in 2012, that over than 10,000 teacher education institutes in India are not even attempting serious teacher education. So we cannot compromise on that ground, and substandard standalone institute should be shut down. Teacher education should be shut down. This is the recommendation of the policy, and its implementation is a big challenge, as we know. New and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education will be developed. This policy expects 4 types of national curriculum frameworks. First for ECC, second for school education, that is covering from age 8 to standard 12. Then and third one is this national curriculum framework for teacher education, and fourth one is national curriculum framework for adult education also. So if what are the expectations in school education we are expecting to change, then the curricular framework for school education and teacher education, it should be aligned. So earlier we have to develop NCRT and NCTE in connection, in coordination will develop teacher education frame aligned to school education framework and ECCE framework. Then teacher eligibility test at all stages will be standard. That is for from ECCE to class 12, there will be 4 stages of school education, and at every stage TET will, yes, for ECC also TET will be compulsory henceforth. And teacher eligibility test will be strengthened with respect to their content and their methodology. Then setting up of national mission for mentoring with large pool of outstanding senior or retired faculty for mentoring of teacher educators and educators at higher education institutes. Merit-based scholarships for 4-year BA integrated will be provided, and only educationally sound, multidisciplinary and integrated teacher education programs to be made available to all pre-service teacher education. Then for in-service teacher education, SWAYAM and Diksha portal will be there, and through this we will get n number of courses for development of in-service teacher and their continuous professional development. Empowering teachers. Teachers truly shape the future of children and therefore the future of our nation. At present, the quality of teacher education, recruitment, their deployment, service conditions, empowerment of teachers is not where it should be. And consequently, the quality and motivation of teachers does not reach the desired standard. Hence, we are observing learning crisis at school level. Even our teachers are trained. The high respect for teachers and high status of teaching profession must be restored so as to inspire the best to enter in this profession. A common guiding set of national professional standards, that is NPST, National Professional Standards for Teachers, will be developed by 2022 by National Council of Teacher Education, which is going to transform in PSSB, that is Professional Standard Setting Body under General Education Council after implementation of this policy. The national professional standards of teacher could be then adopted by states and determine all aspects of teacher career management, including their tenure, then professional development efforts, salary increases, promotions, and other recognitions. Promotions and salary increases will not occur based on length of tenure or seniority as it is at present now, but only on the basis of such performance appraisal under national performance standards for teachers. The professional standards will be reviewed and revised after 10 years, that is in 2030, and thereafter every 10 years on the basis of rigorous empirical analysis of the efficacy of the system, because efficacy of the system mostly depends upon the efficacy of the teacher. The policy aims to phase out the contractual employment of teachers by 2022 is a welcome move of this policy. There will be continuous professional developments of teacher, and teacher professional development is minimum 50 hours every year for every teacher, and same is for headmasters also. And merit based tenure track system will be there to uh, merit based tenure track system will be there to map the performance of teacher through national professional standards, and their service conditions will be improved through better infrastructure at all levels, right from ECCE to higher education also. These are timelines for implementation of policy. Such implementation will require multiple initiatives and action, which will have to be taken by multiple bodies in synchronized and systematic manner at central government level and state government level, including all stakeholders to be and child to be at the center. Therefore, the implementation of this policy will be led by various bodies, including Ministry of Education, then Central Advisory Board of Education, union and state governments, education-related ministries, boards, National Testing Agency, regulatory bodies of school and higher education, NCRTs, SCRTs, along with timelines and plan for review in order to ensure that policy is implemented in its intent and spirit. In the decade of 2030, it is envisaged that the entire policy will be in an operational mode. That means from 2020 to 2030, there will be transformation phase, and by 2030, we will able to implement policy fully. On closing note, I recall Dr. Kalam's words, the purpose of education is to make good human beings with skills and expertise, and these enlightened human beings can be created by teachers. These changes, if implemented in its right intent and spirit, would pave way for the nation to have better students, professionals, and better human beings for 21st century, as is well mentioned by Honorable Chairman of National Education Policy 2020, Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan, transform India through transforming education. I repeat, transform India to transforming education. So making India a global knowledge superpower. Let us join here to implement this policy in its right intent and spirit. Thank you so much. Thank you.
From audience, any questions? Thank you, ma'am, for giving valuable insights on school education versus teachers' education. Thank you once again, ma'am. Good afternoon to all of you. Next session is a valedictory functions. Welcome to all. President of this session is a Honorable Advocate Vishwanath Patil Bannalikar sir, member, Dharmabad Shikshan Sanstha, Dharmabad. Guest of honor, Dr. Ganesh Shinde sir, ex-Vice Chancellor, Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University. Ex-Pro Vice Chancellor, Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded. And Principal, Yashwant Mahavidyalaya, Nanded. And another guest of honor, Dr. Vamanrao Jadhav sir, ex-Dean, Science and Technology, Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded. And Principal, Sharda College, Parbhani. And may I requested Dr. Kanse sir to introduce respected Dr. G.N. Shinde sir and respected Dr. Vamanrao Jadhav sir.
Thank you, Nakalwar sir. Hello. Hello. Okay, sir. Thank you, Nakalwar sir. Good afternoon to all of you. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our guest of honor, respected Dr. G. Principal Yashwant Mahavidyalaya Nanded. He is an excellent academician and administrator. He has a teaching experience of 33 years and recognized research guide in electronics, computer science, and physics. 17 students are awarded PhD under his supervision, out of which 2 students are from other countries. Nearly 158 research papers are published in reputed national, international journals and national, international conferences. He wrote 2 books which are very popular among the students and teachers. 7 chapters written by him are included in the international published book. He has completed 4 research projects and filed 2 patents. He has visited nearly 17 different countries for his research-oriented activities. He has worked as Pro Vice Chancellor at SRTM University in Nanded. He has an administrative experience of nearly 15 years as a principal. He served as member of chairman on numerous committees and bodies. He has been honored by various awards such as Ideal State Teacher Award, Best Principal Award, Benjaminji Jalnewala Award, Merit Award, Who's Who Award. I thank you, sir. Please join me in welcoming to Dr. G.N. Sindhe, sir. And one more, our guest of honor, it is again great pleasure for me to introduce our guest of honor, respected Dr. W.N. Jadhav sir, Principal Sharda Mahavidyalaya Parbhani. He is an academician and administrator. He has teaching experience of more than 35 years. He is a recognized research guide in chemistry. 7 students are awarded PhD under his supervision. 60 research papers are published in reputed national and international journals. He has Dean of Science Faculty at SRTM University Nanded and Chairman of BOS in Chemistry. One more I have written here. He is going to retire in this month on 30 September 2020. So I wish very healthy and happy retire life for him. Please join in the welcoming Dr. W.N. Jadhav sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Shinde sir. May I request respected Dr. Shinde sir to address to e-conference. Shinde sir. I request respected Dr. Shinde sir to address to e-conference. Sir is not audible.
आवाज येत नाही शिंदे सर, आवाज येत नाही.
Sir is not audible.
Sir, you are not audible, Shinde sir.
सर अनम्यूट सर.
सर अनम्यूटच आहेत, अनम्यूटच आहेत पण आवाज काय येत नाही, कळत नाही.
सरचा आवाज येत नाही का?
नाही.
हॅलो शिंदे सर, आवाज येत नाही तुमचा.
नाही, येत नाहीये सर. सर तोपर्यंत जाधव सरांना वाटलंच बोलायला हवा, तोपर्यंत शिंदे सरला आपण कनेक्ट करू.
ओके सर, ओके सर. ओके. नाव
आवाज नाही येत तुमचा आवाज.
ओके सर. नाव आय रिक्वेस्ट.
वामनला घेऊ का पुढे?
हो सर, हो.
वामन सरला घ्या.
Okay sir, okay sir. Now I request respected Dr. Vamana Jadhav sir to address to e-conference. Jadhav sir.
Okay.
हा बोला सर.
हॅलो.
हा बोला सर.
आवाज येतो का?
Yes sir, you are audible sir.
Yes. Okay, okay. Okay. So good afternoon to all. Today, e-conference on National Education Policy 2020. For this conference, President Dr. Kakani sir and management member Bannalikar Patil sir, chief guest Dr. P.S. Vakte sir, he is principal Jnanopasak Mahavidyalaya Parvani and associate dean SRTMU Nanded. Also principal Dr. Sriram Gavane sir, speaker first Pandit Vidyasagar sir, ex-Vice Chancellor, SRTMU Nanded. Second speaker, Dr. Neha Belsare Madam, Director, MIEPA. And also the guest of honor, Dr. G.N. Shinde sir, Pro-Vice Chancellor of SRTMU Nanded, and at present he is Principal, Yashwant Mahavidyalaya Nanded. The Lal Bahadur Shastri Mahavidyalaya, PG Department of Physics and Chemistry, organized e-conference, HOD Chemistry, Professor S.B. Patwari sir, Physics Head, Dr. Tak sir, the colleague of Tak sir, Chavan sir, Yogesh Joshi sir, Kanse sir, and also the colleague of Patwari sir, Dr. Kabinwar sir, Dr. Kasralikar sir, and Nakkalwar. Also other faculty members, all teaching, not teaching staffs of the LBS College Dharmabad, and participants. Today, a conference on the National Education Policy 2020, Speaker Dr. Vidyasagar Pandit sir speak about the policy. No doubt the new education policy is very nice, but the future problems and how to implement this policy, it is most important, because of the policy is good but implementation is not proper. Therefore some problems are arises. So our former vice chancellor Pandit sir along with Shinde sir introduced a CBCS pattern. In the old days, that is the old examination pattern or old syllabus, education policy, and goes to the new education policy adopted by the SRTMU Nanded as a CBCS. So what is the outcome of the CBCS pattern? Our university to introduce CBCA pattern, but we have to instead of what it is expanded to the multidisciplinary, our university goes to close down the multidisciplinary or to avoid the another, suppose our student can adopt the science subject, science students can adopt the arts or the commerce students. This is no doubt it is a good policy, but implementation is most important. So in new education policy, some of the single faculty colleges are merged to, it is a converted to a multidisciplinary, multidisciplinary colleges, because of the colleges are converted to what it is a goes toward the autonomous a system. So therefore, so in this new education policy, some are in this COVID system, the education policy goes to what you have to change all the scenario. You have to change goes to the technology. The rural students and the urban students are closer to each other. Why it is closer to each other? Because of the technology, because of the Google, students can teach if it is in the rural area or in the urban area. So due to this technology, so the distance between the what rural as well as the urban students, it is a closer, and therefore so in this system some are there disadvantages are there, that these disadvantages are overcome in the new education policy, that is the most important. Therefore, so in this e-conference, you have discussed the speaker 1 and 2 in the new education policy, as well as Dr. Prashant Vakte sir, he has told some of the highlights in the new education policy. So this is about the my views, and finally I thanks to the management as well as the principal faculty members of the LBS College Dharmabad, and finally I will thanks.
Thank you, Jadhav sir, to addressing to e-conference. Now I request to respected Dr. G.N. Shinde sir to address to e-conference. Shinde sir. Shinde sir, are you audible?
सर डिस्कनेक्ट करून पुन्हा कनेक्ट करतायत शिंदे सर.
ओके सर.
तोपर्यंत कोणी आपलं तोपर्यंत कोणी ओरल फीडबॅक आजच्या कॉन्फरन्स बद्दल.
विद्यार्थ्यांनी कोणी ओरल फीडबॅक देते का विचारा.
Okay. Any questions about this e-conference from audience?
please ask the question. Hello. Mohin sir, you have to ask the question.
Namaskar, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for giving the chance to ask the question. Actually, जेवढे पण टीचर्स होते त्यांनी एकदम जबरदस्तपणे एक्सप्लेन केलेलं आहे जे काही एक्सप्लेन केलं. तर माझा एक छोटीसारखा क्वेश्चन होता सर. तो हा होता की वी आर implementing all these things, but at the ground level, when I meet the parents, then the important thing is ki खूप सारे लोक still, especially parents, they prefer their child to opt for engineering classes or what they say medical engineering, आणि medical मध्ये खूप parents चा interest आहे and all that stuff. So how do we as a teacher, any one of you sir, जितने पण ज्यांनी पण आन्सर करू शकतात.
Okay.
I will be really happy. So just like what I say is, I need a suggestion. How do we ensure parents and as an individual to ourselves की फक्त आणि फक्त engineering आणि medical पेक्षा त्याच्या पुढे पण खूप साऱ्या गोष्टी आहेत. So how do we convince the parents? So any comment on that will be most welcome, sir. Thank you so much.
Belsare madam is there.
Yeah, sure. So I would like to ask the madam. So what do you think about because we are like हम बहुत सारी चीजें कर रहे हैं मैम. We are doing so many things regarding that. But at the end of the day, it boils down to the mentality of the parents. कि त्यांनी फक्त
What's your good name?
expect कर ले. Yeah, myself Pathan Halim Khan ma'am. Pathan Halim Khan.
Pathan Halim Khan. This is good question. Actually, अभी जो आप देख रहे हैं कि n number of subjects will be offered at 9 from classes 9 to 12, and vocationalization of education is expected from class 6th, and from early child care and education, this policy will take care of child's education. तो इतने सब पैरामीटर्स अभी न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में आए हैं, तो माइंडसेट चेंज होने के लिए, थोड़ा बदलाव लाने के लिए थोड़ा समय जाएगा. लेकिन जितने भी आर्ट फॉर्म्स है, 64 आर्ट फॉर्म्स एंड 16 लोक विद्या, these also we get included in curriculum and pedagogical structure. तो अभी ये सब सिनेरियो हम देखते हुए धीरे धीरे ये बदलाव आ जाएगा कि लोगों को अभी पता ही नहीं है कि अदर प्रोफेशंस क्या है. और जब ये स्किल्स आएंगे राइट फ्रॉम स्टैंडर्ड से 6 से बच्चे कुछ ना कुछ सीखते जाएंगे, जैसे गार्डनिंग हो या फिर कोई कारपेंट्री वर्क हो, तो अलग अलग बच्चों को भी समझ में आएगा कि मुझे इंटरेस्ट किस में है. तो बच्चे ही आगे जाके खुद का करियर खुद चॉइस करेंगे. तो ये पेरेंट्स पे नहीं निर्भर रहेगा कि वो बच्चों को बोले कि आप इंजीनियर हो या डॉक्टर बनो. तो ये दिक्कत ही नहीं आएगी. इस टाइप का ये पॉलिसी विजुअलाइज करती है कि उनको एक्सपोजर ही ऐसे दिया जाए, हैंड्स ऑन प्रैक्टिस उनको ऐसे दिए जाए कि खुद बच्चे अलग अलग स्ट्रीम्स क्या है, और not only streams, because we are we are expecting to learn in multidisciplinary environment. तो multidisciplinary environment में उसके पास इतने choices है at every level, तो उससे वो खुद ही तय करेगा कि मुझे मैं फिजिक्स भी पढ़ रहा हूँ और मुझे म्यूजिक में भी इंटरेस्ट है. तो इफ आई वांटेड टू बिकम साइंटिस्ट बट आई वांट टू ऑफ दिस म्यूजिक एज माय हॉबी, तो ऐसे भी हो सकता है. तो अलग अलग चॉइसेस उसके होंगे, और वो पढ़ते पढ़ते जाएगा तो उसको लगेगा कि म्यूजिक में मुझे ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है, मैंने फिजिक्स भी पढ़ा है, तो मैं म्यूजिक में आगे जाना, एक्सेल होना चाहता हूँ. तो यूनिकनेस ऑफ एवरी चाइल्ड विल बी ऑनर्ड. हर एक बच्चा जो है उसके पास कुछ ना कुछ अलग से है, जिस मराठीत ज्याला आपण म्हणतो एकमेव द्वितीयत्व, युनिकनेस ऑफ एव्हरी पर्सन. will be honored और उसको ज़्यादा excel करने के conducive environment देंगे, opportunities देंगे, तो उससे वो खुद तय कर पाएंगे. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you,
Thank you so much
Patel
for
sir.
your feedback.
Shinde
Thank
sir
you,
is there
Patel sir.
now.
Okay, sir. Okay. Now I request Dr. G.N. Shinde sir to address to e-conference.
Sorry, are you hearing me?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it audible for me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Just I have switched over my laptop to now my cell phone now. So
Okay.
I will take only 2 or 3 minutes. Let me thanks to the all organizing committee. Before that, first of all, I must say that I am the alumni of this college. So I'm very much proud to say that the LBS college is under my development of every stage is in the stages of my development is the contribution of the LBS college only. So let me thanks to the all entire faculty from this LBS college, all the society members, all my surrounding Dharmabad people. So let me thanks to all of them. So sorry for inconvenience from my side. Let me say a few words about the national education policy. All of you know that the education and development is a very important thing. In the morning, Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar sir has rightly quoted that the development of any nation is, we are categorizing this one as a developed country or an underdeveloped country or developing country. We are from the developing country. But we know that for the development of if you wanted to secure to the developed country, you must having just like two sides of the coin that is called as the education and development. All of you know that education for the development, education is from the development, education is through the development. At the same level, the development is for the education, development is from the education, development is through the education. So if you wanted to be India to be a knowledge power, India to be the power of the entire nation, so you must concentrate on the knowledge, because this is the era of, we call that the century of knowledge, and this is called the decade of knowledge. And we have to create a knowledge society. So when it is to be possible, we have to update, right? Vidyasagar sir has rightly quoted that we have a very good heritage, right? From your Takshashila or Nalanda University, we know that. We have invented zero, isn't it? Aryabhatta has invented zero. We have invented the pi value. Astrophysics, the foundation of the fundamental things of the astrophysics is from the India, isn't it? But now, after a decades of century or decades of, you may call the innovations, it is stagnant one. After few centuries or may call the thousands of years, where we are standing. See, I have visited both the poles, North Pole as well as the South Pole, near to that Ireland as well as New Zealand. Both these countries are a very hardly to 800 or 1,000 years of their lifelong things. We are 5,000 years heritage. But what's happened? So the education should be upgraded. That's why new education policy should be implemented. But there are certain things are there. As you know that there are different challenges in front of the, particularly for the education, from the childhood education to the higher education to the professional education. So this linking of the childhood to the higher education is very important one. As you said, always if you wanted to develop a country, there should be linking of your knowledge, college and village. Bandalikar sir is here and he may be agreed with this one. What our education should be? Our education should be for the society, isn't it, sir? Our education for our research should be for the society. So this is a right era. This is called as the educational resurgence. This is called as the educational resurgence. What is it? Is the educational resurgence? What is the change in the education pattern? That is your teaching to learning. Earlier it is the teaching. Now, what type of learning you are giving to the student, it is very important. Another concept is that always entrepreneurship, we are always asking about the entrepreneurship, we are discussing about the entrepreneurship. Always the students are seeking for the job. It should not be seeking for the job. It should be giving the job. This tendency should be changed, isn't it? Or research for the society. collaborative research to the pooling of the research. This attitude should be changed. Dynamic ambience should be changed. How it is to be changed? Dynamic ambience, my campus to the our campus. As I said that LBS college is my campus. LBS is my, I am the alumni of that one. I am proud to say that alumni of that LBS, isn't it? So this type of ambience culture in the student should be developed. Then only then it is to be developed that nation should be in a knowledge society, knowledge network should be developed. Second very important one thing is that major problems in our policies, every policy, not only in the education policy or every sector of the policy, there is an implementation part is very important. We are lacking behind in the implementation part. And in the implementation part, if you see the roadmap of this complete education scenario 2020, it is very clearly mentioned that you should be having critical thinking. We should have a logical thinking. We should have a experimental thinking. That is transferring India to a transferring knowledge India, isn't it? So far, there is a very hurdle is we have a knowledge, but we are lacking in the skill. I will give a very simple example. See, as I said that most of the research is earlier research. It is through the Indian continent or India only. But if you see right now the position of this one, higher education, most importantly in the higher education is concerned, the skill, if you see the South Korea, the higher education peoples from the South Korea, 96% of the higher education persons are skilled one. China and Japanese more than 80%. European countries more than 60%. USA still it is more than 45%. But where we are at the only less than 4.5%. We have a knowledge, but we are lacking in the skill. So in this national education policy, they have rightly in the particular direction that skill development and knowledge, vocationalization of the knowledge or vocationalization of education is they have quoted into this one. And the second one is several fragmentation in your authorities are there, isn't it? So when I was the Pro-Vice Chancellor, I have seen that there is different types of stages. In our campus, we have AICT courses, we have a UGC courses, we have a pharmacy that is a Pharmaceutical Council of India. So if you wanted to go for the recruitment, then also there are certain problems. How to be transfer of credits? Isn't it? How transfer of your education pattern should be implemented, isn't it? Or multidisciplinary education should be implemented. So for this education policy has very clearly mentioned that these hurdles should be overcome, these hurdles should be solved by a single regulatory authority they have proposed that. So these are practical problems we are going to see in the last few decades. So this new education policy had tried level best to give a very good educational system for this India, and they may be good for the near future's education pattern. So second one, this complete new education policy, it depends on the 5 pillars, what you call that, these 5 pillars, that is your access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. So every stage, every person from the India is from society. But let me say that I have to stop here because I have late joined and there are certain inconvenience for you also. So I must very apologize for this one, for this inconvenience from my side. So thank you very much, sir, Bandalikar sir, Dr. Kakani sir, and entire society of this Dharmabad Education Society. Because of this, we people are developed, sir. We really proud of this Bahadur Shastri College and entire Dharmabad society. Okay, thank you very much, and I am very much thankful to the principal, Gawane sir, Patwari sir, Kanse sir, for giving me opportunity to share my views. And if time permits in the near future, definitely I will explain certain things, because 4 to 5 lectures I have covered up with the university also. One of the university lectures also there on national education policy. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Sindhi sir, addressing to e-conference. Now, may I requested Honorable Dr. V.N. Patil Sahib to addressing presidential speech.
Good afternoon to you, all of you. Pattern. Honorable Chavan Sahib, Honorable X Maharashtra State, Honorable PW of Maharashtra, President of Dharmabad. In conference schedule, at the inaugural function, President was Honorable Dr. Kishorji Kakani. Now the inaugural respected Dr. Dean, SRE, our chief guest, Honorable Pandit Vidyagar sir, who delivered a key address to education policy challenge. Resource Dr. Neha Bells has delivered a talk on the topic school education teacher. Ex Pro Vice Chancellor, yes, Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sir, Dr. Vama Jadhav sir, all over the country, and teaching and non-teaching staff of this respectable college. Dharmabad Shikshan Sanstha's Lal Bahadur Shastri Mahavidyalaya College is established in the year 1967 on the border of Telangana and Maharashtra. Actually, around Dharmabad, round about away, there was no college in those days, in the year 1967. Even there was in Nizamabad, that is in Telangana, but there was no science. So in our college, there was science faculty. Students or the students say they were coming from Wardha, they were coming from Adilabad, they were coming from Nizamabad to study, take their higher education in Dharmabad. And that is the secret of this is, in those days, 1967, स्वर्गीय बाबा पाटिल बन्नाळेकर, स्वर्गीय आदरणीय ऑनरेबल शंकररावजी चव्हाण साहब, मदन राव जानदर, these people running a free hostel and free boarding. The strength of the boarding was hostel students. That's why every student benefit of this area, this Dharmabad college in those days. The college is situated in the rural area and tries to impart quality education in all the families with the slogan Bahujan Hitay, Bahujan Sukhay. The college plays a very important role in the educational social development of the rural area because of COVID-19 pandemic situation, not gather together. They discuss the new educational policy of the government of India. E-conference is organized. I really appreciate persons who are attending this e-conference. As Honorable Dr. Vidya, national education policy is a comprehensive to guide the development of education in the country. It is historic and document with an eye on future. It speaks to all aspects of education in our times. this policy is in many ways completely different from all earlier policies, and it will exist for for 2 or 3 decades in future. So what I mean, the aims and objectives of policy should be implemented for the sake of the goodness of the society. Education is fundamental and achieving human potential, developing society and promoting national. Just now, our say family member, students say, or an guest, today's guest, Ganesh Shinde, recollected his childhood. I am very proud of such students who have studied and who have just developed the name of Dharmabad. They are in Dharmabad's name. So I congratulate Almighty to provide them very healthy and prospective life. So education is for achieving full human potential, developing and promoting national development. Education policy is the necessity of time, will help to raise the employment and make self-reliant. India is the first country who provides maximum engineers to the whole world. In the present scenario, because of the pandemic COVID-19, e-learning has been given importance. Therefore, for better result or online classes, schools and provide necessary equipments such as laptop, and mobiles, or internet to the economically backward students. There should not be discrimination among those on the basis of any ground. Otherwise, this act will go right to education. As Delhi has stated in the recent verdict regarding Delhi schools' education. I congratulate respected Dr. Madam for delivering significant speech on the topic education versus teacher education. I congratulate to all the delegates, scholars, participants from all over the country. I also congratulate Chief Organizing Secretary of this e-conference, Professor S.P. Patwari sir, Tak sir, Dr. Kanse, Dr. Yogesh Joshi, and their team for organizing this excellent e-conference. And I also thank to the persons who have registered their name, huge number. Thank you very much. Wish you happy future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patil sir, to addressing e-conference. Address to e-conference. Thank you, sir. Dear participant, our Honorable Dr. Vamaraj Jadhav sir retired at the last day of this month. On behalf of the chemistry family of this university and Department of Chemistry, LBS College, Dharmabad, wishing him good and healthy future. Now, may I request Dr. Durga Prasad Randar sir to propose vote of thanks.
Feedback घेतात का बघा मुलं? सर,
वेळ झाला भरपूर.
ठीक आहे. One more participant.
हां.
Dr. D.R. Mundi is there.
Okay.
Okay.
Munde sir.
Munde sir.
Please unmute and give your feedback.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. At the outset, let me thank. Start my video. Let me thank the Dharmabad Education Society's Lal Bahadur Shastri Mahavidyalaya Dharmabad for organizing such a nice event wherein uh, excellent information regarding the forthcoming national education policy was emphasized. I am really what you can say amazed to listen ex VC of our university, Pandit Vidyasagar sir, who uh, guided us regarding the new education policy. Friends, definitely it is need to think over the present scenario in Indian higher education. We know that and respected Dean Dr. G.N. Sinde sir rightly pointed out that our condition as far as higher education is concerned is not that much pleasant. Out of what we can say, total people educated or who got the what you can say our degree in higher education, they are not skillful. And he along with certain figures sorted or what we can say cited the facts. Ours is the education where hardly 4.5% according to him are skillful persons who got their uh, what you can say degrees in higher education. And that is true, friends. When we look at the what you can say reports of different agencies, according to WIPO report of 2015, India is the 7th largest country who is filing uh, uh, different patent filing office, you can say. We filed so many what you can say patents, around 45,000 patents were filed by Indians in the year 2015. But when we talk about the outcome of this per capita patents filed, it is very poor. It clearly means that something is wrong with what we can say either research policies or higher education policies, friends. Government has taken right steps to what we can by adopting new education policy wherein more focus will be given on vocational education, and skillful people uh, will be there after completing their education, and they will not go for their own what we can say jobs, but they will be in a position to provide job opportunities to others also. Friends, uh, once again, within no time, I will finish my say. Once again, I must thank the Dharmabad Education Society, LBS College, for providing excellent opportunity on by arranging webinar on what we can say the national education policy. Friends, it would be pleasure. It would be my pleasure to share a few words about my colleague, or what you can say, our respected Professor Vaman Rauji Jadhav sir. It is really amazing to say something about the Vaman Rao Jadhav sir. I am what you can say overwhelmed after working with him. He is such a nice guy, no, who put almost 35 years of service, and he produced so many excellent work in not only in the field of chemistry, but even in different fields like different bodies of the university. He performed, he delivered, he worked in different bodies, and see, it is not too easy to work without blaming, means without criticizing. Most of the people we see that they either criticize or blame the institution or university, but he is the only guy which I have seen in my, even in my life, who produced so many excellent what you can say duties, or he did it most of the things without blaming, without what you can say criticizing anybody. He has excellent what you can say skill of getting the work done without hurting or without what we can say criticizing the persons working with him. I really enjoyed throughout while working with him. From my side, from the chemistry people side, I wish very healthy and prosperous life after his retirement, because he is going to retire in the on I think 30th of September this month. Friends, it is it would be well and good if the institutions of our area or our jurisdiction will arrange such excellent what we can say webinars or conferences on virtual platform. I am once again thankful to my colleague Patwari sir, SB Patwari sir, Kanse sir, Principal Gavane sir, and finally all those who helped them in arranging this AE webinar or conference on virtual platform. Thank you for giving me opportunity to share my few words. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Munde sir. Thank you. Now I requested Dr. Durga Prasad Randar sir to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, all. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on the occasion of National E-Conference on Education, New Education Policy 2020, a challenge, organized by PG Departments of Chemistry and Physics, Lal Bahadur Shastri Mahavidyalaya, Dharmabad. A big thanks to our chief guest and resource person, Honorable Dr. Pandit Vidyasagar Sir, ex-Vice Chancellor Swami Ramananda Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded, for enlightening us with his knowledge. I wish to express our sincere thanks to respected Dr. Prashant Vakte Sir, Associate Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology, SRTM University, Nanded, for inaugurating this e-conference. I express my deep sense of appreciation for respected Dr. Neha Belsare Madam, Director, Yamai EPA Aurangabad and Deputy Director, State Council for Educational Research and Training, Pune, for elucidating the topic of school education versus teacher education. We are grateful to respected Principal Dr. G.N. Shinde Sir, ex-Pro Vice Chancellor, Swami Ramananda Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded, and respected Principal Dr. Vaman Rao Jadhav Sir, ex-Dean Sciences, SRTMU, Nanded. We all are inspired by your great words. We express our deep gratitude to Honorable Dr. Kamal Kishorji Kakani, Secretary, Dharmabad Shikshan Sanstha, Dharmabad, and Honorable Advocate Shri Vishwanath Raoji Patil Bannalikar, Director, Dharmabad Shikshan Sanstha, Dharmabad, for their motivational presence and words. I wish to extend my sincere thanks to respected Professor A.C. Kumbharkani Sir, respected Professor M.K. Patil Sir, and Professor B.S. Davne Sir for their valuable suggestions and encouraging support. I would like to thank our in-charge principal, Dr. S.G. Gavane Sir, for his enthusiastic support. We thank you all, the participants, for being with us from different parts of our country. It has been a great pleasure. Now we move to the end of today's e-conference. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Thanks.
Okay, sir. All registered participants will get the e-certificate within 7 days from conference. Link for feedback form will be sent on WhatsApp group after the conference. E-certificate will be sent to those participants who fill the feedback form. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madanol. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks to all. Thanks to all.
Thank you very much.